Emily Carter stood outside the grand entrance of the Crystal Garden Estate, staring at the glittering chandeliers that shone through the glass walls. Luxury cars lined the driveway, photographers wandered around taking pictures, and waiters dressed in black carried trays filled with champagne. She looked down at her simple navy blue dress. It wasn't expensive. It wasn't designer. It wasn't glamorous. But it was elegant, clean, and exactly what she liked. She smiled faintly before taking a deep breath. "Tonight isn't about me," she whispered. "It's Sarah's day." Sarah Carter, Emily's younger sister, was celebrating her engagement to Daniel Whitmore, heir to one of Chicago's biggest real estate families. Their engagement party looked more like a royal wedding. Over 400 guests had been invited. Business executives, politicians, celebrities, fashion influencers. Everyone who mattered. Emily had almost decided not to come. But their mother had begged her. "Please, sweetheart. She's still your sister." Emily loved her mother too much to refuse. She walked inside. Immediately she noticed the difference. Every woman wore designer gowns worth thousands. Jewelry sparkled everywhere. People whispered while looking at her modest clothes. One woman murmured, "Maybe she's one of the staff." Emily pretended not to hear. She had spent years learning that silence was stronger than arguments. Sarah noticed her from across the ballroom. Instead of smiling, she rolled her eyes. "Oh my God." She walked over with 3 bridesmaids behind her. "Emily. You actually came." Emily smiled warmly. "Congratulations, Sarah. I'm happy for you." Sarah looked her up and down. "That's what you're wearing?" Emily laughed softly. "I thought it was appropriate." Sarah smirked. "No wonder you're still single." The bridesmaids laughed. Emily ignored the insult. "I brought you something." She handed Sarah a beautifully wrapped gift. Sarah Beryl. Why looked at it? "What is it?" "A family keepsake. Our grandmother's pearl necklace." For a brief second, Sarah's expression changed. Then she laughed. "Oh please." She tossed the gift onto a nearby table. "I don't wear vintage." The bridesmaids laughed again. Emily quietly nodded. "I understand." Dinner began. Guests were seated according to social status. Emily found her name. At the very last table. Near the kitchen doors. She smiled. That's fine. She had spent most of her life in places nobody noticed. The last table didn't bother her. Meanwhile, Sarah couldn't stop talking about herself. "Our honeymoon is in the Maldives. Dad helped with the wedding. Daniel's family owns half the city." Every sentence was designed to impress someone. Daniel smiled politely. He was beginning to notice something strange. Every time Emily spoke, she spoke kindly. Every time Sarah spoke, she insulted someone. Then came the toast. Sarah stood proudly. "I want to thank everyone who came." She looked toward Emily. "Even those who clearly came because they're jealous." The room grew quiet. Emily looked confused. Sarah continued. "My sister always hated that I became successful. She couldn't stand seeing me happy. I almost didn't invite her. But Mom insisted." Several guests laughed awkwardly. Emily's face remained calm. Their mother lowered her head in embarrassment. Daniel looked uncomfortable. Emily slowly stood. "I'm sorry you feel that way. I truly wish you happiness." She picked up her purse. "I'll leave now." Sarah smiled proudly. "See? I told everyone. She's dramatic. As Emily walked toward the exit, Daniel quietly asked, "Wait. What exactly do you do?" Emily smiled politely. "I work." Sarah interrupted. She owns some tiny consulting company. Barely surviving. Emily simply nodded. "If that's what you believe." She left. Something about her answer bothered Daniel. It wasn't defensive. It wasn't angry. It was confident. Curious, he took out his phone. What was her company called? Their mother quietly answered. Carter Global Innovations. Daniel typed. Emily Carter. Carter Global Innovations. The search results appeared. His eyes widened. The first article read, Emily Carter becomes one of America's youngest female tech investors. The second, Forbes, Carter Global valued at $620 million. The third, CEO Emily Carter donates $40 million to children's hospitals. The fourth, estimated personal net worth, $7.1 million. Daniel blinked. No. He kept scrolling. Awards. Interviews. TED Talks. University speeches. Charity foundations. International business magazines. She wasn't a struggling consultant. She owned one of the fastest-growing AI healthcare companies in the country. Daniel looked at Sarah. You told me she failed. Sarah froze. You said she couldn't and keep a business. I thought. You never bothered checking? Sarah's smile disappeared. Guests nearby noticed Daniel's shocked expression. What happened? One businessman leaned over. Daniel quietly turned his phone around. Within seconds, the phone passed from person to person. Whispers filled the ballroom. That's Emily. No way. She's worth millions. I've read about her. I attended one of her conferences. Oh my goodness. Sarah's confidence vanished. Their father slowly sat down. He looked ashamed. For years, he had believed Sarah's version of events. That Emily had abandoned the family chasing impossible dreams. That she had failed. He never once asked Emily about her life. Daniel stood. I need some air. He walked outside. Emily was already walking toward the parking lot. Emily. She turned. Daniel caught up. I'm sorry. You don't owe me an apology. I judged you. You believed someone you trusted. Emily smiled gently. That happens. He looked embarrassed. Why didn't you tell anyone who you really are? Emily looked toward the stars. Because people who respect money never truly respect people. Silence. Then she added. I wanted my family to love me. Not my success. Inside, Sarah's guests were still whispering. The engagement party had transformed completely. Instead of discussing decorations, everyone discussed Emily. One investor recognized her name immediately. Wait. She's the woman who bought Horizon Medical last year. Another nodded. My company tried partnering with her. A woman added. She's known for funding cancer research. Sarah felt smaller with every sentence. She rushed outside. Emily was opening her car door. Emily. Emily turned. What? Sarah forced a smile. I'm sorry. We were just joking. Emily looked into her sister's eyes. No. You weren't. You've been embarrassed by me since we were children. Sarah's smile disappeared. Emily continued. When we were kids, you laughed because my clothes came from thrift stores. When I studied every night, you said I had no friends. When I started my company in a tiny apartment, you told everyone I was unemployed. And tonight, you called me jealous. She paused. The truth is, I was never jealous of your life. I was only sad that you were ashamed of mine. Sarah had no answer. Emily reached into her purse. She removed the small gift box. The necklace. I forgot. She placed it into Sarah's hands. Our grandmother wanted you to have it. She told me. Family is more valuable than diamonds. Emily smiled sadly. I hope someday you understand what she meant. She got into her car and drove away. 3 months later, the wedding invitations were sent. Emily received one. She politely declined. Instead, she donated the entire amount she would have spent on travel and gifts to a children's hospital, in Sarah and Neil's names. The hospital sent them a public thank you letter. People praised their generosity. Only Daniel knew the truth. He called Emily. Why? You didn't have to do that. Emily smiled. Kindness is easiest to give to people who least expect it. Years passed. Sarah's marriage struggled. Not because of money, but because pride had become a habit. Daniel often remembered that night. The moment one simple Google search revealed a truth no expensive party could hide. Meanwhile, Emily's company expanded across Europe and Asia. Her fortune grew. But more importantly, so did the number of lives she changed. Scholarships, hospitals, research centers, youth programs. She quietly gave away millions. Most people never knew. Because she had learned long ago. Real wealth isn't measured by the money in your bank account. It's measured by the kindness you leave behind. And on the night her sister tried to humiliate her, Emily walked away with something far more valuable than revenge. She walked away with her dignity. Because in the end, success doesn't silence your critics. Your character does.